listening to Have You Ever Wondered? It is Monday, June 6th, 2022. I'm Chloe, and the title of today's episode is Please Be the Truth. How's your weekend, guys? I was good. I was busy and then also exciting. Not only things I was doing, but things I was getting to observe other people doing. It was great. Today's topic is one that's really important to me, actually. And the tagline I wrote sort of like underneath this was, assimilation is unnecessary, nay, damaging. And the word honesty is one of the most important words to me, as is its best friend and companion, authenticity. And in fact, as time has gone on, the import of those two things has really only increased for me. And one of the ways that tends to manifest itself is me trying to get the people with whom I interact to feel comfortable with being their authentic selves. You wouldn't think that would be such a big deal, or I suppose I should say it shouldn't be. And yet, for so many of us, myself included at times, it's been really difficult to manage. And so, not only do I find it extremely difficult to form meaningful connections with people who either can't or won't be the authentic version of themselves, but there's also an intense sadness that I feel at the thought that life keeps training scores and scores and scores of people that their inherent personality doesn't add value to the world. I've been thinking about what I consider to be the antithesis of authenticity, which is assimilation. How's that for alliteration? A. And I'm wondering what the point of it is. What's the benefit? I was talking about this with someone a while back, and they're saying like, well, there's a biological imperative, this underlying survival instinct in all of us that looks for like species and tries to figure out how to live like them because being alone is more dangerous than being with others. I get that. I really do. And actually, that's been the case throughout human history, right? You could actually make a case for it still being true today. Of course, the types of danger that earlier humans experienced is often different from what we're currently dealing with, but I think you can still describe them with the same word. And yes, as a species, I recognize that there's value in aligning ourselves along points of commonality that make it easier for us to cohabitate. Human things, right? Things that make us want to live with each other and not with gorillas. And gorillas want to live with each other and not with cats. And except for that Coco. Like everybody has their group. That's how it's supposed to be. I do get that. But I also can't get over the fact that of the approximately 100 billion people who have ever existed on planet Earth, 100 billion. And we're talking like from the very first one, to the one that wherever on this planet was born like 10 seconds ago, There's never been two people that were exactly the same. That I find utterly mind blowing. Just think about it for a second. So that means that although there is value in our similarities, there has also always been necessity. I'm not just talking about benefit or, like decorative enjoyment. I'm talking about an actual necessity in our differences. We were made to be different on purpose, and we were meant to be different for a reason. So, if we spend so much time trying to be like the people around us, we start to let trickle away the reasons for our individual existence. And I just find that to be one of the greatest tragedies. I spent a great deal of my early years being made to feel like the best place for me to find value as a human being was being as much like the people around me as I could manage. And let me tell you what, it was miserable. Like, miserable. And it wasn't until I turned 20, whatever, that I fully recognized how damaging that practice had been for me personally. How ultimately unfruitful, not only my personal development, but like toward my life goals. And then here's the kicker, how totally unnecessary it was. It turned out that there was, and still is, a true value in figuring out exactly who I am and then striving to be exactly that person all day, everywhere I go. So that's what I do. Believe it or not, the same thing is true for you too. Novel, right? Once I got it under my belt, though, the practice of it, and I say practice on purpose because by no stretch have I arrived at the destination of total self-actualization, total self-awareness. I don't even believe it's possible to get to those places during the course of your natural life. But once I got the practice of it down, you get a little bit better every day. Another like weird thing happened, which was I started feeling like I was being battered on all sides by people who felt like they couldn't be honest with me about who they really were. Which, like, total bummer, because that's the version of you I actually want to know. And more importantly, because, who am I? That's the version of you that the world deserves to know. Wouldn't you rather be surrounded by people who know and accept and love you for who you actually are? No, I'm not saying it's easy. It's not easy. It takes a lot of work. And honestly, everyone's journey is their own. So maybe this is not work that you want to do right now. And of course, if that's the case, that's your choice. I'm just planting a little seed of thought, right? But if you can think about the way that you tend to interact with people and you feel like there might be something lacking or something that you wish maybe had a different quality about it, then perhaps it would be okay to take a step back and look at how you've been interacting with yourself. Do you know you? Do you love you? Do you respect you? I like knowing exactly who I'm dealing with when it comes to myself and when it comes to other people. See, because there's a value in our differences. There's a beauty in our differences. And I don't want to be like everybody else. I definitely don't need everyone else to be like me. It's poetry time. Dude, I love poetry. so much. Um, about a week ago, I had an epiphany. Or should I say another epiphany? At least once a year or so, sometimes twice. I have this sort of like seminal personal revelation of some sort. Something life changing, like a spiritual experience that fundamentally alters the way that I move through life from that point on. I had the first one in the fall of 2016. And, well, I should say the first, like, recent one. And then the one last week was a big one. Perhaps the biggest one since that first one. And, we have no time to go into it now. Not that I even would, because I am super private. I also am still left feeling like I want to honor what happened and how it's been making me feel. So, of course, you know what I'm about to say. We're going back to Mary Oliver. Okay, I came across this poem after I'd already chosen a different one by a different poet for today, and I was, just like going through my notes, going through my thoughts, and I was like, yo, this kind of embodies how I've been feeling right now since last week. So you win, and the other one will have to wait till later. So, thank you, Mary. Every day, I see or I hear something that more or less kills me with delight, that leaves me like a needle in the haystack of light. It is what I was born for: to look, to listen, to lose myself inside this soft world, to instruct myself over and over in joy and acclamation. Nor am I talking about the exceptional, the fearful, the dreadful, the very extravagant, but of the ordinary, the common, the very drab. The daily presentations. Oh, good scholar, I say to myself, how can you help but grow wise with such teachings as these? The untrimmable light of the world. The oceans shine. The prayers that are made out of grass. Doesn't it just make you want to stand up and walk outside wherever you are? The woman was a true genius. Ugh, creative genius. It's one of my favorite things. We did it again, you guys. Thanks so much for being here. Enjoy the rest of your day. And really think about it, like, think about just being yourself if you're not already doing it, or if you've been thinking about it and you're not sure. It's totally worth it. I'll see you tomorrow.